The movie begins by introducing a group of 5 close friends, 2 of whom are named Luke and Dom. They're enjoying a lively night out at a bar, laughing and having a good time. During their conversation, the idea of going on a hiking trip comes up. One of them suggests Sweden as the destination. The others agree, excited by the prospect, and they begin making plans for the trip. Later, Luke decides to stop by a convenience store to pick up some wine and asks one of his friends to come along. His friend agrees and the two head to the store together. Once inside, they notice something is wrong. There's a robbery in progress, and the store clerk has been taken hostage by the thieves. Startled, Luke quickly hides, trying not to be seen. However, his friend remains out in the open. One of the robbers takes his wallet and then demands his wedding ring. When he refuses to hand it over, the situation escalates. The thief becomes aggressive and, without warning, stabs Luke's friend multiple times. Despite witnessing the horrifying attack from his hiding spot, Luke is frozen with fear and doesn't step in or make a sound. Tragically, his friend dies in front of him while Luke stays hidden, unable to help. 6 months later, the story picks up with the remaining 4 friends arriving in Sweden, just as they had planned before the tragedy. Although none of them truly wanted to go through with the trip, they chose to honor the memory of their lost friend by completing the hike. Luke, still haunted by guilt over what happened in the mall, is visibly withdrawn and burdened with regret. One evening, as they share a bottle of wine in remembrance of their fallen friend, emotions run high. Afterward, they begin their trek into the wilderness. During the hike, Dom slips and injures his foot, making it difficult for him to continue walking comfortably. To save time and ease the strain on Dom, they consult a map and find a shortcut that cuts through a dense forest. Despite Luke's growing unease and reluctance, he senses something isn't right and warns of potential danger. Dom insists they take the route to avoid further delay. Luke suggests they call for help instead, but ultimately, the group agrees to venture into the forest. As they proceed deeper into the woods, a chilling discovery stops them in their tracks. The mutilated carcass of an animal hangs gruesomely from a tree. It appears to be a recent kill, the wounds still fresh. Though unsettled, the group chooses to press on. Near the same tree, they notice a strange symbol carved into the bark, which raises suspicion. It leads them to believe that hunters may inhabit the area, possibly the ones responsible for the animal's death. As they continue through the forest, the group spots a cabin in the distance. With the rain pouring down heavily, they feel a sense of relief, hoping the structure will offer shelter and perhaps even some help. When they reach the cabin, however, they discover it is abandoned and eerily quiet. With no one answering their knocks, they decide to break the door open and step inside. Luke hears an unsettling noise coming from the forest just before entering, but he brushes it off and follows the others in. He locks the door behind them for safety. Inside, they find the place filled with strange, old artifacts, objects that seem ancient and out of place. It appears the occupants left long ago. Among the bizarre items, they notice the same mysterious symbol they saw earlier carved into a tree. Then they come across a disturbing statue, headless, humanoid, and grotesque in appearance. Its presence sends a wave of unease through the group. Despite their growing discomfort, they have little choice but to stay. It's still storming outside and night is approaching. Eventually, they lie down and try to get some sleep. In the middle of the night, the sky darkens suddenly and something strange seems to affect the light outside. Luke wakes up with a jolt and tries to rouse one of his friends, but fails. Curious and uneasy, he decides to investigate alone. As he opens the door, he suddenly finds himself transported back to the convenience store where his friend was murdered. It's a vivid, haunting illusion. Moments later, Luke snaps awake. It had all been a dream, but when he looks down, he notices something terrifying. His chest is bleeding, and claw-like marks have appeared on his skin. Panicked, he rushes back into the cabin. Inside, he finds 2 of his friends in a similar state of fear, clearly shaken by their own nightmares. Luke tries to calm them down. However, they realize one of their friends is missing. Luke goes to look for him and finds him standing motionless before the grotesque statue, completely naked, seemingly in a trance, worshiping the figure. Luke snaps him out of it, and the group hurriedly gathers their belongings, eager to leave the cabin and whatever strange force resides within. Shaken, silent, and filled with dread, they continue their journey. But as they move deeper into the woods, they begin to notice more of those unsettling symbols etched into the trees. The sight of so many fills them with a growing sense of fear. Something is terribly wrong in this forest. The group decided it was time to leave the forest. According to the map, the way out was toward the southwest. However, Dom started walking in a different direction, and the others followed him. As they walked, one of Luke's friends began talking about the strange things that happened the night before. But the others told him to forget it. It was just a dream. Soon they came across another cabin that looked similar to the one they stayed in earlier. This time, they didn't go inside and simply kept moving, ignoring it. They had gone deep into the forest when Dom's injured foot started hurting badly again. He sat down to rest and asked the group to stop for a while, but one of the friends insisted that they needed to keep moving, saying he had a bad feeling and didn't want to stay there any longer. While the others rested, Luke looked around, hoping to find a better path. In the distance, he suddenly saw something strange moving through the trees. It scared him, and he quickly ran back to his friends to tell them what he'd seen. No one believed him, so Luke showed them the marks on his chest as proof, but Dom dismissed it, saying Luke probably walked into a branch and got hurt that way. Dom started blaming Luke and got angry with him. The two began arguing. Frustrated, Luke picked up his bag and walked off. The rest of the group, still uneasy, grabbed their things and followed behind him. As they continued walking through the forest, the group stumbled upon something buried in the ground. They dug it out and realized it was an old camping tent. Inside, they found a worn-out backpack containing a wallet. When they looked through it, they found a photo and a credit card that had expired in 1984. That's when it hit them. Someone must have come here decades ago and never made it out. The discovery left them deeply unsettled, and they started to feel that something was seriously wrong with this forest. Luke's best friend urged the group to leave immediately, sensing danger. But with nightfall approaching, they had no choice but to stay and set up their tents. That night, while trying to sleep, Luke once again had a nightmare about his friend's death in the store. The terrifying dream woke him up in a panic. Suddenly, he heard shouting outside the tent. Alarmed, he stepped out to investigate and saw that one of the tents had been torn open, and the friend who had been sleeping in it was gone. He quickly asked another friend what had happened. That friend, clearly shaken and crying, said that a giant man had taken him. While they were still trying to make sense of it, they heard their missing friend screaming from deep within the forest. They rushed toward the sound, but when they reached the area, there was nothing there. Confused and terrified, they tried to head back, but realized they had wandered too far and couldn't find their way back to the tents. When morning arrived, they came across a horrifying sight: the body of their missing friend hanging from a tree, just like the animal they had seen earlier. The gruesome scene shook them to their core. In shock, they carefully took their friend's body down, hoping to recover the map he had been carrying, but it was nowhere to be found. One of Luke's friends insisted they couldn't just leave the body behind and offered to stay with it, but Dom disagreed. In the end, they gently covered their friend's body with wood and moved on, carrying their fear with them. As they continued deeper into the forest, the friends begin to realize that everything started going wrong after they entered that strange cabin. While walking, they come across a small stream and stop to drink from it. Nearby, they notice a bucket and human footprints, which gives them hope that someone might be living close by. Motivated, they push forward. After a while, exhaustion sets in and they decide to rest. Wanting to get a better view, Luke climbs to the top of a nearby hill to scout the area. From there, he sees the edge of the forest not too far away and realizes they're close to escaping. Excited, he rushes back to tell the others. But when he returns, his excitement turns to horror. He witnesses a terrifying creature grabbing one of his friends. Luke panics and tries to flee, but crashes into a tree and falls. Disoriented, he slips into another vivid dream of the convenience store. When he wakes up, he calls out for Dom and runs to find him. Luke tells Dom that their friend was taken by a monstrous creature. He says it moved so fast, he couldn't see it clearly. Both of them are frightened, but despite the fear, they decide to keep going and escape the forest. Along the way, they spot a path lit by torchlight. As they follow it, they come across the body of another friend hanging from a tree, just like before. Horrified, they continue walking and come across another cabin. Suddenly, someone attacks Luke. When he regains consciousness, he finds both himself and Dom tied up with ropes. Peering through a hole in the cabin wall, Luke sees a group of strange, tribal-looking people gathered outside. He tells Dom what he sees, and Dom becomes just as terrified. Thinking quickly, Dom breaks a glass bottle on a nearby table and tells Luke to use a shard to cut the ropes. Before Luke can act, an old woman enters the room with members of the tribe. She looks terrifying as she approaches Luke, inspecting the mysterious wound on his chest. She gives him water to drink and reveals that she has the same mark. Then she approaches Dom but leaves him untouched, refusing to give him water. Luke pleads with her to give Dom some water, but she ignores him. Then she orders one of the tribe members to bring Dom to her. They take Dom upstairs while Luke is left helpless, hearing his friends scream from above. Later, a young woman from the tribe comes to Luke and quietly explains that Dom is being prepared for sacrifice. When Dom is finally brought back, he's in terrible shape, clearly beaten and tortured. Weak and in pain, he tells Luke that they're going to kill him, but begs him to promise one thing: burn this place down after you get out. As morning breaks, the tribe members drag Dom outside and tie him to a wooden pole, preparing him for a ritual. Meanwhile, Luke remains inside the cabin, struggling to free himself from the ropes that bind him. Before he can fully untie himself, the creature arrives. The members of the tribe immediately bow down, showing reverence to its presence. Luke finally manages to free one of his hands. Outside, Dom begins to hallucinate. He sees a vision of his wife standing before him, but the illusion quickly fades, revealing the terrifying creature in disguise. The beast approaches and lifts Dom effortlessly, carrying him away. Moments later, Dom's body is hung from a tree, just like the others before him. His life ends in a brutal and horrifying way. Back inside, Luke is shown again, and the young woman from the tribe returns to him. He begs her to take Dom's body down, but she calmly refuses, explaining that their people are forbidden from touching the dead. When Luke asks about the creature, she begins to explain. She tells him that the being is known as the forest god, a powerful, ancient entity that has lived in these woods for generations. It never harms the tribe, so they worship it as their protector. Because of the strange mark on Luke's chest, she says he has been chosen and is now part of their group. She tells him that once a year, the tribe performs a sacred ritual to honor the forest god. The creature preys on travelers, kills most of them, but chooses one to remain in the forest and join the tribe. This time, Luke is the chosen one. The mark on his chest is a sign of the forest god's acceptance. Those who worship the creature are granted long life and the fulfillment of their desires. But in exchange, they must offer it human sacrifices. Luke asks her why the forest god picked him. She responds, "Unlike the others, you carry deep pain and guilt. That is what it senses, and that is who it chooses." She warns him that the ritual will be held that night. Luke must kneel before the creature, or he will be hanged from a tree like the others. The choice is his. Luke is left stunned by what the girl tells him, and after revealing the truth, she quietly leaves. Determined to escape, Luke manages to make his way upstairs into another room. What he finds there horrifies him. Rows of mummified bodies, long dead but still somehow alive, preserved in a state of eternal suffering. These were past victims, kept alive by the creature's curse of immortality. Realizing what has been done to them, Luke sets the room ablaze, engulfing the dried bodies in flames. As he tries to leave, the old woman from the tribe spots him, but Luke punches her aside and rushes into another room. There he finds a rifle and uses it to shoot one of the tribe members who tries to block his path. As he continues, Luke discovers the tribe girl who had warned him, now lifeless. The creature had killed her as punishment for breaking their code and revealing the truth. Horrified but driven by survival, Luke exits through another door, gun in hand, and fires at the monstrous creature. But the bullets have no effect. The forest god doesn't flinch. Terrified, Luke flees, but suddenly visions return, those haunting flashbacks of his friend's death, guilt flooding his mind. Paralyzed by fear and memory, Luke is caught by the creature. It lifts him effortlessly, then slams him to the ground. The forest god begins a ritual, placing its hand over him as if to claim him fully. Just then, Luke spots an axe nearby. Grabbing it, he strikes the creature, managing to injure it and break free. Wounded and desperate, Luke runs through the woods with everything he has left. Eventually, he reaches the forest's edge. The forest god chases him but stops short at the tree line. It cannot leave the forest. It lets out a monstrous, deafening roar as Luke escapes its domain. Finally, Luke emerges into the open and sees a road ahead with several parked cars. He's made it. He's reached civilization. Breathing heavily, his face etched with exhaustion and relief, Luke realizes he's safe at last. The film ends with Luke's survival, standing alone at the edge of the forest, forever changed by what he endured. Thank you for watching.